My name's Ronnie Nichols, and we're going to make a little video showing my method for making a coin ring from a silver dollar. Here's what we're going to start with, and here's what we're going to finish with. Now, the first thing that I do that's different from other makers is that I've got this little metalworking lathe, and it's a milling machine too. It's just a little cheap Harbor Freight one, but it's done me very well. But I chuck these coins up in this three-jawed chuck. Well, it's hard to say. And I drilled a hole in it. That's the first. This is a step bit. Having Harbor Freight. The first hole they drilled is a 1/4 inch. That's where we're going to start. Now I've got a little homemade wooden thing that I made. It's got a threaded place in the middle of it. And we're going to thin this coin down. Here's another dollar. It's 90, measures out 97 thousandths. And this one measures out 82. So we turned about 15 thousandths of an inch off of it. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to use this little deburring tool. Clean this residue off of this hole that we drilled. Now we're going to go back to the lathe, and we're going to take the reeded edge off of the outside of this thing. We're going to take a little file here. We're going to file the detail, the reeding off this edge of this coin. We got a coin that's smooth on one side, still got the detail on the other. No rough edges are on it. And now it's time to anneal this coin before we start bending on it. And that includes heating it up to what I like is a dull cherry red. Now, I've got some homemade tools here. This is a piece of delrin that I've turned down and made a little die out of, and a piece of delrin for the pusher. And I've got the coin face down, but I've had pretty good luck with this instead of having a hydraulic deal. And that's bending a whole lot easier than it would if it were thicker. Now I want to check it, make sure it's still straight. It seems to be going pretty straight. Alright, so we got a pretty good start on it. Top straight, the bottom straight. I wear about 11 and a quarter, something like that. We'll shoot for one that fits my hand. Now we're going to wrap this thing up in some Teflon tape. Now we're going to push this down till we feel a little bit of pressure against it. And that's so much easier to push by it being that much thinner. You see it's almost to the bottom. and it's still good and straight. And we're going to get a little bit smaller die. We're going to put one of our little homemade pushers on here. They're made out of aluminum. And I've got them different sizes. We're going to turn this ring upside down. Put the large side down in this little 5-degree die. We're getting in the vicinity of where we want to be. Now that's pretty straight across there. You can see that. I like to have the edges just a little bit with an oval shape on the top. Alright, let's see. We've got about 11.5 on that side and about 11.75 on that side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change to my 17-degree die. And it's just going to hit the corner, so we don't need to wrap this thing. An 11.5 pusher on it. And we're going to try to even this thing up a little bit. Now we're getting hot. Now we've got a pretty even looking curve on the outside of it. And we've got about a 9 on that side and about a 9.75 on this side. So now we're going to, that's a little bit wide. I'm going to take it over here and narrow it down. Now we come over here to our little disc sander. It's got some 180 grit paper on it. And we're going to work on the outside edges of this little ring. Close. Mighty close. Now we're going to work on the inside. Here's the little carbide burr on the drill. Now that's got the inside cleared up. The edges in the center pretty well the same. Now we're going to go to some 80 grit paper. I've got a little homemade mandrel I made out of some Delrin, or maybe a 1/2 inch piece of Delrin rod. And we're going to work with the 80 grit paper on it. Now that's got the inside pretty well smooth down to 80 grit. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put it back over here on the lathe. I've got a little mandrel homemade mandrel that I've made. And we're going to put it on the lathe and we're going to taper the outside edge, just kind of put a bevel on both sides of it. Now we've annealed it off camera, and we're going to measure it. We're up at about a size 12 and a half here. 12 and a quarter on that side. So that's a little bit larger than we want. We're going to wrap it up in Teflon tape again and push it through one of these little 5-degree dies. Now we're back over here at our 1-ton press. And I've got one of my little pushers here made out of Delrin. This ring being as thin as it is, it'll push through there pretty easy, and I believe this Delrin will do it. We're just trying to get it down to size. Now I'm going to turn it upside down from what I had it. I'm going to try to push it from this side just a little bit. We're going to need to go just a little bit beyond what we're shooting for. So we're going to do that same thing one more time. Alright, that's twice we've done that. Let's see where we're at now. That's about 9 3/4. 9 1/2 on that side. So we're going to smooth the inside of it up again. Not really much to smooth, but we're going to smooth that up. And if we need to stretch it out, we'll put it on this ring stretching tool here. Alright, here we are with 80 grit paper. That 80 is cleared up the inside of that. Now we're going to go to, I got some 320 here. Now we're going to go some 400 wet or dry paper. We're going to dip it in some water. We're going to get us some this white buffing rouge or whatever it is. Doesn't that look better than all that old detail on the inside? Feels better. Smooth. Now we're at 10. I can stretch that out to 11 without a problem at all. We're going to work on the outside edge. I found that this just kind of finishes it down. Now we've got the inside smoothed down, real slick. The outside edge is smooth, it won't cut your finger. We're going to stretch it out to about 11, but you notice we haven't worked on the outside at all. So we've saved that to try to keep the detail as much as we can. And we are over here at the ring stretcher. And we're going to work on it just a little bit. See what that did. That's 11 1/4. That fits my finger just right. Now we're going to just buff a little bit on the outside of the ring here. This stuff makes a nasty looking stuff. There's no shine like mother's, it says on the top of that thing. See it right there? No shine like mother's. This is a mag wheel polish is what it really is, but it does feel good on this silver. Says in God we trust there. $1. Maybe you can pick up on the way the inside shines on it. Here's my old rough finger. Slide this thing up on my old rough looking finger.